Early June, and the town of Ballymena, Northern Ireland, descends into violence.
The crowd should disperse immediately as force is about to be used against violent individuals.
Over 3 nights, locals wage a war on migrants, attacking their homes and cars, running them out of town.
This isn't just a Ballymena issue, it's an issue throughout the UK, and somebody needs to be taking it seriously.
Protect our kids! It all started after 2 Romanian-speaking teens were charged with the attempted rape of a teenage girl. Racial hate crime in Northern Ireland is at record levels, and it wasn't long before the violence spread to other towns.
There was a pot bubbling for a very long time, and that pot bubbled over because nobody would turn down the controls on the cooker, and the pot exploded.
It was racist thuggery, pure and simply, and any attempt to justify or explain it as something else is misplaced.
The Ballymena riots took place against a backdrop of rising anti-immigrant sentiment across the UK.
This is our country! You should be here standing with us!
This past weekend, more than 100,000 people took to the streets of London. Taxpayer-funded hotels housing asylum seekers are now the scene of angry protests, putting Prime Minister Keir Starmer on the defensive.
When it comes to the asylum hotels, I want them emptied. I completely understand why people are so concerned.
While Nigel Farage's Reform Party surges in popularity.
Who are the priorities for housing, for benefits, for any of these things? Is it British-born people, or is it people swanning in from all over the world?
Northern Ireland has a deeply violent past, blighted by decades of deadly sectarian conflict, known as the Troubles. During Northern Ireland's Troubles, religion divided this town. Catholics were pitted against Protestants. But for some people here, there's now a new enemy: migrants.
You have a completely different agenda.
Ballymena is a majority Protestant town of just over 30,000. During the Troubles, it saw violent attacks on Catholic homes, schools and churches. In recent decades, key industry in the town has closed and immigration has increased. Community representatives estimate that around 2,000 Filipinos now call Ballymena home, as well as at least 1,500 Roma, an ethnic group concentrated in Central and Eastern Europe.
Gary.
Nice to meet you.
You too. So this is Queen Street?
This is Queen Street. This is home, yeah. Yep.
Gary Lamont lives on Queen Street with his wife and 2 teenage daughters.
I would say Queen Street's a really friendly, it's working class, ordinary people getting on with life. And as I say, we have great neighbours and we have a diverse community. And yeah, it's the fact that we're still here 20 years later kind of speaks for itself.
Tensions had been rising in the area, with locals accusing members of the Roma community of antisocial and criminal behaviour, including selling drugs, dumping rubbish and harassing women. So when the news broke that 2 boys said to be Roma were charged with the attempted rape of a teenage girl, Gary joined other locals at a protest. 4,000 people showed up.
A huge gathering of people quietly, peacefully protesting because of what had happened to that young girl and the alleged rape. And that was really just a kind of the tipping point and something that has been bubbling in this community for a number of years.
As you see here tonight, people have had enough. People have out here and they're backing this family. And I think everyone here has reached out to this family and offered their support.
It started peacefully, but when the crowd began to march in the direction of Clonavon Terrace, where the attempted rape was alleged to have taken place, police stopped them.
That kind of created a volatile situation where there was obviously elements within that protest that maybe weren't intent on keeping it peaceful.
Things began to escalate.
There clearly was a group there that were dressed in black, and they kind of would have stood out.
The mob began targeting the homes and cars of migrants. Some Filipinos, and in particular Roma, bore the brunt of the aggression.
In the heat of the riots, signs that we all had up on our windows at that time just to kind of identify that we were local.
You put them up in your window as well?
Every house had them, actually.
At 1 a.m., while helping a neighbour, Gary was confronted by rioters.
I actually said, I'm begging you, please don't come any further down the street, and tried to explain just that there was a lot of local families, my wife, my kids, my grandmother, my neighbours, and I said, please don't go any further down that street, you know.
And they spoke back to you?
They spoke back that, yeah, they were wanting to know, they were wanting us to identify particular houses, and I just, on that occasion, I wasn't wanting to do that.
By morning, many of the town's Roma community had fled. Some burned out of their homes. Gary's house was spared, but a foreign-born neighbour wasn't so lucky.
Obviously, it was heavily vandalised. I think they tried to set it on fire, but a few of the locals, we managed to get the fire out.
I mean, you've said it was wrong, what they did, but yet I feel like you're a bit conflicted.
It's so hard not to be conflicted in the sense that any right-minded person would only understand this situation if they were living in it. It's not just as simple to say that, you know, they're racist thugs. When you come out of your house, when you see gang masters, when you see rubbish and shopping trolleys on street corners, bin liners piled up, rats in the area, unless a massive transformation of these people's culture, the Romas, they are incompatible with Northern Irish culture.
I was watching some of the live streams and had seen the turn and had seen some of that kicking off.
Sian Mulholland is a local politician who was watching the violence unfold and fearing the worst.
We knew that there was a level of hostility there that was building.
Sian's phone soon rang hot.
We have a large Filipino community in Ballymena. I started to get contact from those who are working with the Roma community as well.
She stayed up all night working with police, relaying information about where migrants had taken refuge.
The first phone call of that, I don't think I'll ever forget. 3 children and 8 adults went into their attic, barricaded the attic door, and they could hear all this noise and basically the house being ransacked. So I can only imagine the terror that they were feeling at that time.
The next night, Sian was up again, helping police locate migrants under attack.
Subsequently, I found out that a decision had been made for them to be taken to a leisure centre in Larne. That group included a woman who was 9 months pregnant. It included really young children who had been vomiting on the floor of the police station because they were so frightened.
The leisure centre had become an emergency shelter. But when its location was revealed on social media, rioters attacked it too. It wasn't long before Sian was in need of police protection herself.
I'd got a message from my mother-in-law with a screenshot of a comment from someone saying that they were encouraging people to donate petrol to me.
Sorry, just explain that. Someone's saying people should donate petrol to you. Is that code for...
It's, yeah, like a petrol bomb.
Hundreds of Roma had settled within a handful of streets around Clonavon Terrace, and Sian could sense trouble brewing.
Having done some volunteer work in Central Europe, in Romania, in Serbia, in my past as a youth worker, I know that even in their countries of origin, there is such a huge level of discrimination faced by the Roma communities. I will never deny that there are frictions and there are tensions. But again, the solution is not to go around and burn people's homes.
Most of the Roma who fled Ballymena appear to be staying away. Almost all are unwilling to speak, except for one.
I'm on my way to a town about an hour's drive from Ballymena. I'm going to meet a man who's agreed to speak to me about his experience of fleeing the violence.
He's asked to be known only as Mitko.
Това, което се случва в Балимена, не го пожелавам на никой и никъде да не се случва.
Mitko is originally from Bulgaria. For the past few years, he's lived and worked in Ballymena, where he's also helped raise his grandkids. On the first night of rioting, Mitko was asleep when he heard a mob in his street.
Викат, целия изтръпнах. Децата взеха да пищят, да реват. Дядо, какво става? Аз викам, няма нищо, аз гледам да успокоя децата. Защото децата са стресирани от тази работа.
By night 2, he was warned by a community representative to get out.
Бягай ти кой където може, спасявай се, вика, защото стане много лошо.
Mitko rejects claims his community was antisocial.
Измислят си някои разни неща, за да не изгонят от Балимена, да ти кажа. Значи в Балимена минаваш и те гледат накриво, даже има някой лапта, мой да те плюят. Те, значи, преди да стане та беля, много хора ми го казваха, живееш на най-лошия град в Ирландия. Мислих да остана тук до пенсия. Момента не знам. Момента просто...
tensions in the UK over immigration have been rising over the northern summer. Increasing numbers of migrants have been arriving illegally by boat, more than 50,000 since July last year. In Northern Ireland, it's become a burning issue. This confronting effigy was the centrepiece of the traditional July bonfire in the town of Moygashel. Northern Ireland is the least diverse region of the UK. Just 3.4% of the population belong to an ethnic minority group. This is the Shankill Road in the heart of Belfast. Marches like this one celebrate the Protestant victory in the 1690 Battle of the Boyne.
The thing you have to understand about Northern Ireland is that Catholic and Protestant residential areas are generally voluntarily, I suppose, segregated from each other. Here in the city of Belfast, you even have walls dividing them. We call them peace lines, and they date back to the Troubles of the late 1960s. So if an area has a coherent Catholic or loyalist character, then people in that area tend to want to preserve it in that way.
Veteran writer and journalist Malachy O'Doherty believes Northern Ireland's history of sectarian conflict played into the riots in Ballymena.
When I was covering Ballymena in the 1990s, there was a huge protest of outrage because a Catholic church had been established in the area of Harryville, near where the recent race riots were. So this is a community which is averse to having dilution, averse to having Catholics in, and by extension, averse to having strangers in at all.
What the people that we've spoken to in Ballymena say is, oh no, we're welcoming to migrants. There's lots of Filipinos there. Polish people have come over the years. It's this particular community, the Roma, that they say have been engaging in criminal activities.
You can't stand and say, well, there's no criminals in our community. We're not like that, because your community is like that as well. You do have criminals. You do have rapists. You know, you do have molesters of women. You know, you do have drug pushers and drug dealers.
Almost 3 decades after the official end of the Troubles, paramilitary groups are still active. Protestant paramilitaries, known as loyalists, have previously been linked to racial violence.
Do you think they were involved in Ballymena?
I don't know that they deliberately themselves lit that spark. I haven't that information, if you like. But they are the only people in that area that would have the authority to order young men onto the street to throw petrol bombs, and they're the only people in that area that would have the authority to order men off the street and stop throwing petrol bombs. So those are indications that they were involved.
I'm about to meet a man with deep paramilitary links. Peter won't show his face. He denies loyalist groups were behind the riots.
Loyalist paramilitaries at no stage were involved in any of it.
Why not?
Well, the loyalist paramilitary group that I'm concerned with have started recruiting. They don't meet. They go to 4 memorial parades every year, which is what the paramilitaries in this town do now. They're not active in Ballymena.
As a young man, Peter did 5 years jail for weapons convictions while serving with the Ulster Volunteer Force, or UVF, a group believed to be responsible for around 500 deaths during the Troubles. Many of their victims were Catholic.
Are there some paramilitary groups, though, involved in Northern Ireland in organised crime today?
You couldn't deny that. There are, yeah.
And that's drugs?
Mainly drugs, yeah.
Trafficking?
Just drugs, mainly drugs.
Is there any element in your mind of this being a turf war between different groups interested in organised crime?
And Ballymena? No, this was a very sheer frustration at the behaviour of one section of a community against the rest of the community.
Is it justified, the violence?
I wouldn't condone it, but I certainly wouldn't condemn it.
In Ballymena, a hardcore group of locals is determined to drive any remaining Roma out of town and make sure those who left don't come back. This group meets at least once a week, standing outside homes where they believe Roma still live.
Oh yeah, we're from Australia, Australian TV.
Most people refuse to talk.
Some of these women over there might do it for you.
There's deep distrust here of so-called mainstream media.
Why not?
No.
Because we need a
Do I know
woman.
some in Australia? They don't let them in, full stop.
But tell me why you've come out tonight.
What? You're not interested? No. Go away. No, we're not interested. No, you have a completely different agenda. We're not talking to you.
How
Go
do you know
away.
what my agenda is?
We don't want to talk to you. Go away, please.
I just think, ladies, you've got a public protest for women's rights.
What your news station's all about.
No one's prepared to say why you're taken to the
I
streets.
think the fucking signs say it all.
As you can see, it's pretty difficult. Tensions running pretty high here. This protest is actually, it started outside the house of a member of the Roma community. That's what the locals here have told us. And they've actually handed us a piece of paper which has the addresses, they say, of Roma community members still here, people they would like to see gone.
At one home, there's a confrontation with 3 Romanians.
There are 4 children living in it.
Yeah, protect 4 children. 4 children. 4 children. Protect 4 children. We have children.
Ernie runs a local Facebook group promoting these protests. He and his friend Steven are the only people willing to be interviewed.
We have a right to protest.
Is it intimidation, though?
It's not. What they were doing in their gangs was intimidating our women and children, but we certainly aren't intimidated. The police are there anyway, so you can't get away with that. So
why is a protest like this then necessary? Because people have been driven out of town.
The gang leaders are still here. The Romanian gang leaders are still here. The Bulgarian gang leaders are still here.
Some of Ballymena's Filipino residents were also victims of the riots. But the recent charging of 2 Filipino men with rape and sexual assault did not spark the same violent reaction.
This was a one-off thing with Filipinos. They're new to this town. I say you can't tar them all with one brush.
Ernie's group is focused on the Roma community.
Would you like to drive every Roma person out of Ballymena?
Yeah.
Do you think you're racist?
No.
How do you say that to people who say, oh, well, this town, this community came together to banish a certain group of people?
I'm going to ask you the same question as I asked anybody else that's accused me of being racist. Why? What makes you think I'm racist? Can you explain to me why you think I'm racist?
Well, the targeting of a specific racial or ethnic group, that is racism.
Is it wrong to protect your women and children? Because we've actually helped women from some of the foreigners as well. We've helped them. But we will protect our women and our children.
The Ballymena area voted strongly for Brexit, with one of the key concerns migration through Europe.
What was happening in this town was uncontrolled, unregulated migration into it from Eastern Europe.
Jim Allister is the region's highest-ranking politician. A staunch Protestant, he's a member of the UK Parliament at Westminster. He's long been opposed to mass migration into the UK, whether legal or not.
We're right across the road from one of these houses that was burnt out, people torched out of their homes. How did it come to this?
I think it came to this because of authority turning a blind eye to what was happening in this town. Because, you know, we've seen it in England, we've seen it elsewhere. There's a great fear of being called racist if you call out something. And I think that's part of the problem.
The other part of the problem, as Jim Allister sees it, is the country's open land border with the Republic of Ireland to the south, which, unlike Northern Ireland, is still part of the European Union. A welcome sign is all that separates the south from the north.
Roma, for example, will hold either Romanian or Bulgarian citizenship, which means they're citizens of the EU, entitled then to unfettered freedom of movement within the EU. So they can move freely to the Republic of Ireland, which is still in the EU. And then because of the government's failure to have any controls, they've been able to come up into Northern Ireland at will. And there are issues here because of the over-concentration of an identity, namely the Roma, which wants to live by its own rules, doesn't want to integrate.
Is there an irony in you saying that, and yet people saying these people should live by our rules, and yet this community took the law into their own hands?
Taking the law into your own hands is never right. Of course it's not. But for years, this situation has been building, and officialdom didn't want to know.
Was it mob justice, what happened here?
I think it was. Well, it was certainly mob rule. Whether it was justice or not, I wouldn't like to say.
What happens if they come back?
If they come back, I suspect there could be increased tension again.
Eight weeks after the riot, I've been invited to a community hall to meet some locals, including Gary Lamont from Queen Street. There's been a hardening of views since the violence. They believe life here has improved.
The shadow has been cast over Ballymena, but it doesn't make Ballymena a bad place. It's still a good place. There's still a welcoming town with a welcoming people, but there's only so far you can go with a welcome before you realise that there's issues out there that need to be addressed.
I'm not saying violence is the answer, definitely not, but if that's the only way you're being heard, what do you do?
But people were burnt out of their homes. Are you saying that the end justifies the means?
Well, I mean, I don't want to see anybody from any community, any background or anything like that scared, terrorised. But what I will say is, do my children feel safe? Yes, they do.
Northern Ireland was a country that has been going through a healing process, and it only got a very short space of time until this huge other problem was then heaped on top of areas that are already deprived, already struggling. Ballymena cannot go back to what it was.
What we saw in Ballymena was different. Will we see protest on the street, picketing of hotels where migrants are staying? I think we're going to have to get used to that.
My hope for the town is that we can have those difficult conversations and start that healing process. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be an easy journey. I mean, I think that, yeah, we've a long way to go.